Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the WIT podcast. Wherever this finds you, I hope it finds you making it a great day and doing WIT. I'm excited to introduce our guest today. We'll just have full disclosure because you're probably going to notice if you're watching this on YouTube that we're wearing a similar piece of jewelry. And that's because I bought a piece of Kylie's jewelry from her line, Free Roaming Jewelry. And I'm wearing it today and she's wearing hers today. And so sometimes on this podcast, I'm meeting teens for the first time when I interview them. That's not the case with Kylie. I work with her in a one-on-one coaching program at WIT, and I knew her prior to that because she participated in a WIT college credit program. But I'm going to ask her questions about things that I don't know about her. So I'm going to learn some things about her today, just like you are. So let's get started with our rapid fire questions. We'll put Kylie on the spot a little bit, but we'll keep the questions easy. Okay, Kylie, where in the world are you today?
I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming right now.
Okay. Is this where you normally live or is this a different location than normal?
This is a different location. So I live in New York City, but I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a couple weeks.
Okay. And what's the name of your business?
Free Roaming Jewelry.
And how old were you when you started your business?
17 years old. So this year.
Okay. And for those of you wondering, because we do record these things live, the slurping in the background is always my dog drinking the water. So he never does it unless I record. And then that's when he decides to go to get a drink. Okay. On to the next question. How long have you been running Free Roaming Jewelry?
Since March, that's when I created Free Roaming Jewelry. So I'm not exactly sure how many months that is.
But you're just a few months in. It's not like you've had this business for a lot of years. Okay, we'll get into some of the things that are going well for the business and some areas that you're looking to improve. But tell us, what else do you do besides running a business? What are some other hobbies that you have?
My other main hobby is soccer. So I play on my high school team and also on a club team outside of school. So that's super fun for me.
What position?
Midfield or defense.
All right. And what show are you binging? Any show right now? Anything that you're enjoying?
I am not binging a show right now. I just finished watching the new season of Outer Banks.
Okay, that's fine. I feel like I'm missing out because a lot of teens have been talking about Outer Banks, and I haven't even watched one season of it or one episode of it. So I might need to check this thing out.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your favorite go-to snack?
My favorite go-to snack is probably sweet and salty popcorn.
All right. And is there any place in the world that you dream of going to that you haven't been to yet?
Definitely Italy.
I used to live in Italy. So fun.
Really?
Yeah, I lived there. When I was in college, and I do recommend this to everybody, I lived abroad for a year. Best decision I could make. I know that's a weird thing to say in the climate of the world right now, because with the pandemic, there's not as many abroad programs going on, but I lived one semester in Florence, Italy, and one semester in London, and best decision I ever made. And so much fun. Italy is still one of my most favorite places. And I used to go back almost every year, but it's just stunning. And I love the language, the food, the culture.
Yeah, the food.
The food is so good. And you realize like true Italian food is a lot better than like Italian American food. Like eating it there is very different. Okay. So we do these little rapid fire questions, just to fun ways for the listener and the viewer to connect to you and just understand a little bit more about you outside of just you being the founder of Free Roaming Jewelry. But let's talk a little bit about being the founder of Free Roaming Jewelry and why you started it. So walk us through why you decided to launch a jewelry company.
Yeah, so I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do, but when I was younger, I had kind of enjoyed making like friendship bracelets, and I think I would consider myself a pretty creative person. So I kind of came up with jewelry, and I thought that would be a fun thing for my business because I've enjoyed making bracelets and different things in the past. So why not try making necklaces and make a business out of making jewelry?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And I was going to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
like a little bit more behind the why and like how it relates to Jackson Hole, but we can wait a little bit too.
No, I don't want to wait. Dive in.
Okay.
Tell us.
So another part of my business is that 15% of the profits go towards sponsoring a fence project in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And so part of the reason why I implemented that in my business is because I love Jackson Hole. I'm here right now. It's the place that makes me feel most free, and I really enjoy all of my summers out here. So that's kind of why I incorporated this give back component as well.
So, I mean, Jackson Hole is stunning. I used to go there when I was younger. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I appreciate why you love it so much. I think the listener and the viewer, they're going to want to understand a little bit more about what you mean by supporting a fence project. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is and why that's important to you?
Yeah, so a fence project is basically the removal of a fence, usually a harmful fence, but also in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, there's fences that are kind of abandoned and they kind of serve no purpose. So it's basically the removal of a fence so that animals can roam freely, because a lot of the time these fences serve as a barrier to animals that are trying to find food, find water, or when they're migrating. And so sometimes these animals can even get tangled in and die in these fences. And so I just really want to create a safer environment for all of the wildlife roaming around, because I think part of the beauty in Jackson Hole is the animals. So yeah.
So I think it's good to share with other teen entrepreneurs that you can launch these businesses and have a give back component. That's a big part of WIT. I mean, that's, the organization that I run and that we work with young people, young entrepreneurs, is that we want you to launch businesses that have some type of give back component, because we believe very strongly that you can make money and do good. Like, that doesn't have to be exclusive. And I love that you're doing this. How far into your goal are you? How much money have you raised so far? I think you're just a month or so into actually launching your first necklace, but how far into it are you?
Yes. So my goal is $300 to give to sponsor this fence project. And so far, after my first launch of the zip necklace, I have raised around $82, I think $81.57 to be exact, which is a little bit over a quarter of the $300.
Yeah, you're almost to a third. I mean, you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the launch. Now you're wearing mine, just in full transparency, is a custom design, which we can talk about later. But Kylie, talk about it, maybe even like bring it closer to the camera so people can actually see it. Talk about the first launch. What are we seeing on there?
Yes. So the necklace that I'm holding up right now is the zip necklace, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. And so it's the first necklace that I launched. And basically, if you choose to buy a zip necklace, you can customize it. So you can put whatever zip code that you want on your necklace. So for example, I'll hold mine up closer again. So I have the zip code 83001 because that's the zip code of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And basically, you just have a zip code on your necklace so that you can wear it close to your heart. And so I really like that concept. And basically, anyone can pick whatever special place is special to them.
So I know you've had orders. Are there people, when they place the order, telling you why they're choosing the location, the zip code that they're choosing?
Some of them have, and then a couple of my friends and family, I know kind of why they chose that zip code. But if you check out my Instagram, I've actually started posting friends and family, like a picture of them wearing the necklace. And then in the caption, you can read about why they chose that zip code for their necklace. So I just posted one of my friends a couple days ago, and she chose the zip code of Sag Harbor, which is in the Hamptons, because she used to go there when she was younger with her family, and she just has a lot of really good memories there of being on the beach. And so that's why she chose that. But you can really choose whatever zip code you want, and I'll be posting more about people's zip code and why they chose it. So you can definitely check out my Instagram at For Your Only Jewelry for that.
I love that. I'm just a sucker for the story of a brand. And like, I think a lot of people are. I don't think I'm the only person. If you think about the things that we buy and we consume, a lot of times it's because we feel a connection to the brand, and that's based on the stories that they tell with their advertising and their marketing. Your business was an easy one for me to want to get behind and even support you as a coach behind it, because it just makes so much sense to me. And it's so authentic for you that you really do care about this place. And you hand make the jewelry, right? And you are in there. Tell us about that, like how you're doing it.
Yeah, definitely. So basically I have to buy all of the materials first, of course. And so once I get all my materials, so the gold pendants, the chains, and then also I have to get a hammer, and then I have to get these metal impressing tools. So I have all of the letters and all different numbers. And so for this necklace, I'm using numbers, but yeah, so I get all of my materials, and then I have this little space where I will make all of my necklaces. And so it's pretty hands-on. So basically you just pick up a gold pendant, and then I basically center it and figure out where exactly I'm going to put the zip code, depending on what the buyer wants. So for example, a buyer might want it super central. And then, for example, on mine is a little bit higher up. And some people like that. Maybe some people even want it lower down. So it's really up to the buyer. So I figure that out where I'm putting the zip code on the pendant, and then I'll just basically use the metal tools and then press on all of the numbers. And so it's pretty easy. Then you just attach it to the chain and then package it.
Yeah. I mean, you make it sound easy, but I've actually seen you do it. And I know behind the scenes that sometimes it's not easy when you were starting, right? And making sure everything was centered and making sure, because if you don't get one of them centered, you kind of have to start over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so when I talk about the process, it seems pretty simple, but yeah, I agree. It takes I would say it takes a pretty long time, just because, yeah, if, like what you said, if you do mess up, you can't really keep going on the pendant because the damage is kind of already done. So, yeah, so it takes time, but I kind of just get myself in the right headspace, in the zone, so that I know that I'm focused and I feel ready to make one, because I'm not going to make one if I feel tired or not ready, because I obviously don't want to mess up. So yeah, it definitely takes time, but the end result is cool.
Yeah, the concept sounds so easy. Oh yeah, I get the zip code, and then I just engrave the thing. Or I always say that wrong. What is it called? It's not engraving. It's called impressing. I just go no, and I've seen her workstation. I was happened to be able to go over to finally meet Kylie in person when I was in New York City. And I would say two things. First, I was going to say it's not a glamorous workplace, but it actually is, because she's taken over her family's office, the space in their house. So she's in a nice office of her parents' home. But in terms of what she's doing, she's taping things onto the windowsill area because that's the best place to do it. So it's kind of fun to see how you've been, for lack of a better word, kind of scrappy in how you execute it, but the final product looks so good. And I want to talk about that to the listener, because, and the watcher, Kylie's been doing this for not even a year. And so she's accomplished a lot in a short period of time and overcome a lot of hurdles, obstacles, setbacks, some of which have to do with getting things delivered maybe on time, or ordering the right packaging, the right sizing, and things like that. But also just her own stuff on the inside. I mean, can we talk about that a little bit, Kylie? Can you share? Because I think that builds empathy and connection to our listener and our viewer when our teen entrepreneurs talk about some of their own internal hurdles that they've gotten through, beyond just what to order. It's maybe facing things that were uncomfortable for you to do as the founder of a company, and that you faced the fear and did it anyway. Is there anything that you can share with us?
Yeah, well, the first thing that came to mind is kind of some of the public speaking, I would say. So there's been some super cool opportunities that of course I want to do, but it can be really nerve-wracking, especially since I've just started my business and it's not like I get practice every week in school for public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of really taken a step outside of my comfort zone, which I think is a really good thing because I think I'm getting better at it now. But for example, there was this really cool opportunity that Miss H introduced to me since I'm part of WIT. And so basically I was able to share my story with NBC kind of about my jewelry. And then I was able to get myself making some of my jewelry filmed, which was really cool. But I had never really talked to a camera like that for NBC or any TV channel like that. And so it was super cool, but of course it was really nerve-wracking. But I think for me, it was kind of just stepping out of my comfort zone and knowing that the outcome would be really cool. And you just kind of have to go for things sometimes, even if it feels uncomfortable, because the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Yeah. And I think that's just so important. I mean, I'm so glad you shared that. I didn't know what you were going to share there. And I think that's a really great example of you pushing through, feeling uncomfortable, maybe even insecure or hesitant. It's so normal to feel that way. And you did it. And I was there for that. I got to see you and what I like to say, step into your greatness and do that interview. It hasn't come out yet. When it does, obviously we'll share it all over the place. But it was a big day because I knew that wasn't something that was super easy for you. And I joke with Kylie, like I've never met a camera I didn't like. I mean, I'm just like, let's go. Camera's on, like the mic's on, let's do this thing. And you can be like that in the world as an entrepreneur. And you can also be like Kylie, who it's not the thing that comes the most natural for her to do it, but she does it anyway. And there's things that come a lot more naturally to Kylie as an entrepreneur than they do to me. And I mean, she's the attention to detail that Kylie has, especially with like the building of her products and the design of it and how that I'm not necessarily like that as much. And so I just think it's important to share it with all of you that you can have different personalities, different approaches, and things can become easier to somebody else as an entrepreneur and hard to somebody else. And it's okay. You do it anyway. I was so proud of Kylie for doing it anyway, because ultimately it was what was best for her business, which is ultimately what's best for the animals that she cares about, because the more she can get the word out there, the better it is for the end goal, which is really true for all of us as entrepreneurs. And that's why we step outside of our comfort zone, because in the end, when we do, there's bigger wins for those that we're trying to help and serve. I'm wondering also, maybe I do know the answer to this question. What's been we just talked about your greatest setback and that you got through, and what has been your greatest success so far?
My greatest success so far has probably, it's definitely been launching my first piece, my first necklace. I think it's really cool that I kind of like drew out this design for my necklace on like my iPad one day after school. And then it kind of came to life after a while. And then also selling out of all of them is really cool. So I would definitely say that's been my greatest achievement so far.
Talk us through the feeling of getting the orders coming through on Etsy and even Etsy page. What did that feel like? I mean, if you can, the listener can't see her face, but I can see her like starting to smile even as I talk about, tell us about that. What was that like for you to see those orders coming through?
Yeah, I mean, it felt pretty official for that to happen. So I don't know, it's just a really cool feeling to see that people are actually buying your necklace and people want to contribute to your cause. And some people even left small messages with the order that they placed, which was really cool. So it was definitely just a cool feeling to see that people wanted to support me.
What are some of the goals you have for your company? I mean, I know we've been on summer break, so you've been able to focus a lot. You know, you've had the time to build free roaming jewelry during this summer break. School starting up. How are you feeling about that? We don't promote at WIT or even on this podcast that there's an easy way to find balance in your life. Some things give and some things get attention during different stages of your life. There's never going to be a time when it's equally balanced. That's anybody who's telling you that is lying. It's just not true. Something always gives and something takes focus. So I'm thinking for a lot of those young entrepreneurs out there right now, with school starting up, school does take focus because it kind of has to, in a way, because that's where you spend almost 8 hours a day. So what kind of goals are you setting for yourself as you start into the school year with your business, Free Roaming Jewelry?
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing that kind of came to my mind is staying active on social media on my Instagram. And so, as you said, with school coming around, my schedule will be a lot busy. But since I do one-on-one coaching with Miss H, I've kind of talked to her about making a weekly plan. Mm-hmm. So kind of having my week set up in advance for what I want to post and my goals for the week for my business. And so I think that, I definitely want to stay active on social media, and that should be pretty easy to follow through with if I have a schedule that I stay true to. And so that's one thing. And then I also want to launch another piece of jewelry. And so another necklace. I don't want to give away too many details yet because I haven't fully figured it out yet, but I'm hoping to launch that soon. So I'm excited about that. And that's one of my goals. And then I guess to gain more following on my social media as well. So 2 things related to my social media and then launching a new piece.
Which I think will then help you hit your goal about the fence project. Actually definitely raising enough funds to be able to do that, which will be a really exciting day when you can do your first complete fence project donation, which is very exciting. I like that you've made the plan. I mean, again, we work together offline, so I know about this plan. And for those of you listening and watching, how we did it was I just asked Kylie to be really honest with how much time she felt she could dedicate to social media on a daily basis, and then taking that number and then building a plan around that. And the reason, and I say this to Kylie often, and it's not, I think about it, it sounds so funny because it's not like I think Kylie's going to lie to me. It's not, or any of the teens I work with, like, don't lie. No, it's about being rigorously honest with yourself about what you want to do and what you can do, and then building from there. So we all could say, I mean, sure, Kylie could say, oh, I'm going to do whatever it takes to raise this $800. So if I have to spend an hour on social media every day, I will. Well, that's not true. It's not realistic. So that's not a smart goal because she can't spend that much time. And if she did, I don't really know if that's the best use of her time during the school year when she's prioritizing academics and sports and a business. So we like to chunk it here at WIT with like what you can realistically do. And then how can we set some goals around what you can realistically do. So I encourage all of you to do that as you head into the school year, to really set yourself up for success. And you have holiday breaks and you have another summer that's coming up. So don't burn yourself out, because you're never of good use to anybody if your mental health isn't good. Let's talk about that a little bit, Kylie. How do you take care of yourself and make sure that you feel healthy, not only just in your mind? Like, how do you do that? Like, what are some things that make you feel good, that you're taking care of yourself?
Yeah, I think sleep for me is a big thing. So I need to get a good night's sleep every night. And then also exercising makes me feel good and kind of lets me release anything that I need to. And it's also just fun for me. So those are 2 big things. And then I also find that I really like making lists and staying organized. And so when I kind of have all of my tasks at hand and I can visually see them, that kind of keeps me intact and organized. And I find that I'm a lot more productive with my day because I won't overwork myself. I just have like a couple things on my list and I try to get them done. But if not, it's fine. I'll just move over to my list for the next day.
And so talk to me about what advice, I'm going to put you in the advice seat here. What advice would you give to the young entrepreneur who's listening or watching and who's wondering if they should start a business, maybe even a jewelry business, but they might be thinking, oh, it's already been done, or I don't know how to get started, or maybe my ideas aren't good enough. And I don't know if I even want to be on camera and promote my business, or I don't know how to use social media, like all the kind of self-doubt thoughts that pop around in one's brain. What would you tell that young entrepreneur?
I would say there are so many resources just like on Google or out there. So you can definitely figure out how to start, maybe just watching a video on YouTube or looking at other Instagram accounts for inspiration. Look at who's already done it before you, because you can really learn a lot from that and kind of figure out what you want to do. And looking at other people's pages can allow you to think, and you can write down a bunch of ideas and look at other people's accounts. And so I think that's a really good way to start. So there's definitely a way to start, and success also doesn't come all at once. So you don't need to be worried about, having 1,000 followers or really big goals like that. You can eventually get to that, but it's okay to start small. And I think you should always just start and go for it, because there's really nothing to lose.
What if you've been an entrepreneur now for, about a year? You took a class and then you really kind of got your business going. So let's just say 6 months. We'll go 6 months. Okay. So about 6 months, you've been really living into being an entrepreneur and running your business. How do you think you've changed during that time?
Yeah, I think that I kind of have stopped caring about like what a lot of other people think, because if I'm having fun and I think I'm doing cool things, well, I am doing cool things, then it doesn't really matter what other people think. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing.
That's a good thing to get. I wasn't sure what you were going to say. And that is, gosh, if more people, even young people, old people, my peers, would care less about what people think and just do the thing that you're having fun and that you think is cool. That's really all that matters, that you think it's cool.
Yeah.
Of course we do want other people to think that Kylie's jewelry is cool because we want them to buy it. But the best place to start is if you're really passionate about what you're doing. And I really want to stress, because I feel like this is something that Kylie and I have been talking about and working on, that you can be a teen entrepreneur and go to school, play your sports, have time with your friends, get a good night's sleep, and still be successful with your business. It's not about burnout. I think that's something that Kylie and I have really been working on. And I think she's doing a really good job implementing as she gears up to the school year, and that you don't have to leave your business and just dedicate something to school. If your business is bringing you joy and it's something that you would like to do, you can find the time. But we don't want you to burn out. I don't want Kylie burning. I love her idea. I think it has a lot of potential for growth and scaling. But right now we're in a season with her business that it's not necessarily the best time to go, let's put a really aggressive scaling plan into action, because she's got school starting. But there'll be a time for that. There'll be a time where she can maybe even grow it even bigger. But when do you think the launch? I really don't know. Have you given thought about when you want that next piece to launch?
I'm thinking, I think September, maybe okay. September 1st, right off the bat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see. I'm proud of you. I know how hard you've been working behind the scenes to get where you are and the things that you have overcome. I hope that the listeners and the viewers are inspired by you. I'm inspired by you. I think the thing that inspires me the most is your willingness to face the things that are uncomfortable and do it anyway. A lot of people bump up against the things that are uncomfortable and scary and make excuses why not to do it. And you feel it and you do it anyway, which is such a great characteristic that you have and will get you far as an entrepreneur and just as a person in life. So I'm definitely just want to celebrate you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else you want to share with a listener about your entrepreneurial journey? Any advice you want to give to them?
I kind of mentioned this earlier, but definitely just go for it. If it doesn't work out, you can always try something else. If you don't like your first business, create a different business, or you don't even have to do it if you don't like it. But as I said before, just go for it.
Okay. I could easily end on that note, but I kind of want to end on something else. I want to end on you telling me what it felt like to have the NBC camera on you in your office where you were making pendants without any press before. And then all of a sudden, fast forward a few months, and now you've got a camera in there filming you. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really exciting just for someone else to capture it. And then soon everyone else will be able to see that as well. So it was just really exciting and cool for that to happen. And it was definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'm really happy that it happened. And in the moment, it felt really exciting and great.
Were you proud of yourself?
Yes.
Okay, good. You should be. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching another episode of the Do WIT podcast. Where can they find you, Kylie? Where can they find your business?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Free Roaming Jewelry. And then you can also find me on Etsy at Free Roaming Jewelry as well. But if you are on my Instagram, you can go to the link in my bio and you can hit that link, and then that'll take you to another page and you'll see the words Etsy shop on that, and you can hit that as well. So that's another way to get to my Etsy shop from my Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram and Etsy.
Okay. And for those of you that want to support her, remember there are free ways to support one another in this community. You can go follow her Instagram account. You can go like pictures on her Instagram account. You can go comment. You can share a post. Those are all free ways to support one another in this community. So I encourage you to do that. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment below with your favorite takeaway from today. And don't forget to like this episode, share it, subscribe, all of the things. And just remember, wherever you are, to keep doing whatever it takes, not only to help other people in your business, but also for yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, the business and the other things don't matter. So never forget to do WIT for you. Thank you, everybody. And I hope to see you next time on the Do WIT podcast.